Mark Consuelos' health declined precipitously as doctors delivered the confirmed cancer diagnosis. Kelly Ripa was overcome with grief. They had first sensed the shift like a wrong note in a cherished melody. Small, everyday things gave them pause. Mark would forget a line, misplace his keys twice in one morning, or trail off mid-sentence as if the thread of his thought had frayed. At first, the family brushed it aside. A demanding schedule, the pressures of work, the way life accelerates and jumbles the maps in our pockets. But when his appetite dwindled to a few bites, and his evenings dissolved into long, heavy slumbers, the humor vanished, leaving behind shadows in every room. The diagnosis came with its own peculiar language, clinical, direct, and more personal than they could have imagined. Tests ordered as a precaution uncovered a progression of disease none of them had fathomed. The word cancer hung in the air between Kelly and Mark like a loaded weapon, something that demanded tenderness and deliberation just to approach. This is the chronicle of that week, and of the weeks that spread like stains around it. The blur of hospital lights, the collapse on a rain-slicked afternoon, the media circus, and the small rituals that kept a family from unraveling. When Mark was admitted, the decision felt abrupt because crisis ignores schedules. One day you're debating scripts and the dog's stubborn refusal to be house-trained. The next, the walls of your own home feel the wrong color for the sorrow you carry. The oncologist used the word aggressive, outlining how the cancer had advanced faster than they had hoped. No melodrama, only the measured cadence of those who had rehearsed this script of bad news countless times. Mark, for all his on-camera bravado, was simply human. He met the words with a quiet resolve that seemed both denial and strength. "Okay," he said, a small word that carried immense weight. Kelly watched him, terrified of how precarious life suddenly felt. The family rallied with awkward but fierce devotion. Michael sat in waiting rooms between classes. Lola compiled lists of questions for the doctors, pressing them into her mother's hand like charms. Joaquin abandoned weekend plans to hover close. Friends helped with the house, meals, and errands. In the hospital's antiseptic corridors, doctors laid out options: chemotherapy, targeted therapies, and palliative considerations. No guarantees, only probabilities and time, parceled out in cautious phrases. Kelly learned the new language of medicine. She memorized the faces of nurses, tracked shift changes, noted lab results, and asked questions until answers became second nature. Yet outside those walls, the press descended like vultures. Cameras captured every departure, every streak of mascara, and turned it into headlines. The family released a brief statement, thanking the public and asking for privacy. It was a flimsy shield, words thrown like a sheet against a hurricane. On the third night, Mark's condition worsened. Fever spiked, blood pressure dropped, and the steady hum of machines erupted into shrill alarms. Nurses rushed in, their movements precise and rehearsed. He was moved to the ICU, a place where time dissolves into glass partitions and endless monitors. Complications followed: infection, organ strain, a cascade of setbacks that even seasoned experts couldn't fully predict. Kelly's world shrank to the space around his bed. She adjusted blankets, brushed stray hairs from her forehead, and balanced calls with one hand while holding his wrist with the other. The children watched their parents, searching for direction. Then Kelly herself collapsed in a hospital corridor, her body breaking under the strain she had carried for weeks. A nurse rushed to her aid. By morning, the photo of her being helped into an ambulance was everywhere. Sympathy, speculation, outrage, all unfolding across headlines that demanded drama while ignoring the quiet dignity of sorrow. Still, there were small victories. Mark's fever broke,
Machines registered slow improvements. He opened his eyes, smiled faintly at a joke, and for a moment the family celebrated like it was a holiday. These shifts, however fragile, gave them hope. Friends visited, co-stars filled the room with stories, and fans left notes at the hospital doors. Compassion became a safety net, holding the family steady against a tide of uncertainty. Through it all, Kelly anchored her family, public face and private guardian, moving through grief and hope in equal measure. Stabilization was not a cure, but it was a breath, a pause, a chance to hold on. And in those moments, surrounded by machines and love, they discovered what mattered most, the fierce, unyielding act of staying present together.